All right, welcome back to another live episode of the Relationship Series. My name is Gina Spatero, and this is my brother Sam Spatero, always talking about the matters of the heart and mind. And tonight we're just going to update you on some of our thoughts, our opinions, because everybody's got them. Doesn't make them right or wrong, it's just is. And I think it's important that we're able to express our opinions in a non-judgmental way. So on that note, Sam, how's your week been? A few weeks. We've been kind of like on summer mode here, so things will get back to normal in a few weeks for sure.
Well, I think like anybody, uh, after being stuck in the house for so long, I mean, we've had
Yeah.
kind of an up and down summer. I mean, I don't want to complain because it's, regardless of the type of summer that you have, it's always better than winter, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
yeah, no, the past couple of weeks they've been pretty good.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, my gosh, has it been hot the past 3 days?
Mm-hmm.
Oh my
Very hot.
gosh, crazy hot! Like I think yesterday was 40 with a humidex.
Today was too.
Was it really?
Mm-hmm.
I
It
thought it
was.
was like 35. Anyway, it felt crazy. Well, yesterday wasn't so bad because it was overcast,
Mm-hmm.
but today you really felt it. So,
It was.
yeah, no, today was a good day. Worked and then came back, and mom and dad called and said they wanted to, you know, come by, and they brought some Dairy Queen for us and the kids, and we chatted
Very
and had a
nice.
nice visit.
Nice.
And yeah, I just switched jobs today
Good.
and working close to home. So I got 4 houses I'm doing the cooks now.
Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah, which is nice. I'm usually used to traveling at least 45 minutes to an hour and a half, so this is a nice change for the next 2 months.
It's
So
fantastic.
super excited about that, and I guess just like anybody else, trying to figure out how to navigate the world on a daily, hourly, minute basis, and pretty much go from there. How about you, G?
The same, right? Like, I mean, like you, I'm not complaining about summer at all. It's my favorite season. And in Canada, it's hit and miss, right? Like, you either have like super hot summers, where there's like a drought almost, or you have like wishy-washy summers where you have weeks of rain, then it's like really hot, and then you have like these crazy thunderstorms. And that's where we're at this summer. So it's really taking advantage of the days that are really nice, right? Where you don't have to be caught in the rain and. So, yeah. And I mean, in my head, I'm trying to do that where it is compromising some things like the show and like other things because it's almost like you can visualize what it felt like being confined for those fall and winter months. And it's like, just enjoy these months, right? So, as much as you can, because you just never know what's going to happen, right?
Do 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 do.
Very true, right? And
The
that's the thing,
unknown.
right? It's so unpredictable. It's almost like we're at the point where it's like people make predictions, right? It's like you can almost foresee and you make the prediction, right? So where we say it's unpredictable, but it's almost like is there a splash of certainty in there?
What is that? God bless his soul. He's dead now, but Doctor Stephen something that short. What was his name again?
Oh, I can't remember his last name,
Doctor
but
Stephen.
yeah, I can't remember.
Anyway, he had a really good quote, and it was, "Never believe in predictions that do not empower you. If
Yeah,
you believe in predictions that do not empower you, you will wither away and die."
yeah,
So I thought that was kind of cool.
yeah. It is pretty cool.
Shout out to his peaceful rested soul.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. But it's just you know, we get like these glimpses of like certainty, right? Where it's like feels good, and then you just the certainty wears off, right? And it's just very cyclical these days. So it's managing the days that are really good here and just enjoying them because the uncertainty and the unknown is just that unknown, right? So the
Yeah.
scales are very tipped. we talk about certainty and uncertainty in relationships, right? And how when there's too much certainty, there's a lot of complacency and all that kind of stuff. When there's too much uncertainty, then there's a lot of rise in other things like anxiety, like whatever it is. And I feel like that's what's happening right now, right? Where there's so much uncertainty that you're going to see people's anxiety, you're going to see people's um, moods or whatnot be out of sorts, right? So there is a mental health for sure is going to be a complete constant surge, I think, with the next little while. But yeah, the uncertainty is a little bit crazy right now. Yeah.
I feel like I've been on that boat for the past year, 4 months, and I haven't gotten off.
Yeah, well, that's it, right? Like we've just been sailing on the that uncertain boat where it's like it's almost like it's like a kid, right? Where it's like you give them glimpses of hope, like I remember the other day, it's like we were out and your little one was like, when are we going fishing? When are we going fishing? When are we going fishing? And you're just like, later, later. I feel like that's what we're on, right? Where it's like, okay, well, when is this all going to be over? When, okay, well, our numbers are going down so soon. Everyone can relax. And then it's like, well, actually, psych. So it's just one of those cycles, right? Where the unknown just is constant.
Well, and remember, I mean, that constant uncertainty is what causes. I think I would say the majority, if not, I mean, if you want to call it a minority or a majority, whatever it might be, to break down, right? Because
Yeah.
there's only a certain amount of uncertainty that any human being can withstand, unless you're, some elite trained mental and physical athlete that no matter what happens in your life, you just keep trucking forward no matter what it looks like. But I definitely would say, for the majority of people, being on that ship too long is, you know, not a really positive thing to be riding along in,
Yeah.
for sure. But I think here we are now. We're in August of 2021, and you know, to say the least, I mean, we should say the future is looking bright.
Mm.
And I think like anything in life, whether it's a relationships challenge or a career change or a parenting issue or something you want to do with your physical body or maybe you want to make some mental changes to improve the quality of your life. There's so many facets of that you control,
Yeah.
right? But it seems like with everything that's been going on and continues to go on, today is, it's the opposite. All this stuff is coming at you. You're trying to figure out the best ways to navigate it, but it feels like, you really don't have a lot of power to control anything,
No, you don't.
because it's somebody else, pulling the strings, not life or an experience, right? But someone else telling you what you're going to experience, someone
Yeah.
else telling you what you can do, where, when, and how, right? So it's, hey, I mean, we talk about relationships being, matters of the heart and mind. I think that's just pretty much falls into life.
I think so.
If you don't have a balance of both, I mean, it's so easy to, create a lot of these things that you talked about, and I would say a lot of let's, I mean, relationships have really been impacted over the past year. For months, there's been a lot of mental health issues that have arisen, a lot of truths, a lot of falses. So the question is, where do we go from here?
Yeah.
Where do we go from here? It's a great thing. These vaccines are being rolled out at very high volumes. Here in Canada, we are, I believe, what, at 80%
About that. Yeah.
vaccination rate. A lot of the other countries, the vaccination rates are a lot higher than they were 3 months, 6 months, even a year ago. So, from what I understand from the data, it has brought down a lot of the deaths worldwide, which is pretty amazing. However, we are just finding out now that also the vaccinated, even with the variants, because of the new variants, are now spreading COVID just as much as the people who aren't.
Right.
So we thought that the vaccine was going to be the holy grail, as in one, reducing how much you would be affected by it, so no death, extreme symptoms, um, and now obviously it's to the non-vaccinated side where you would feel a lot of these really major symptoms. But now we're both obviously finding out that now both are equally spreading it. One will be impacted physically, whereas the other might not, which is a really good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But my cause for concern is there's a lot of things that are being rolled out and are being enforced that really don't make sense and conflict with that.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those things being is if we have the information today that both, and how does this tie into relationships? Well, I'm in a situation where, I think, like anybody in the world, you wish, in a democracy, we're not communists or socialists, where you've always had the choice to decide what you wanted to do with your life, what you wanted to put into your body, what you didn't, where you wanted to go, where you didn't want to not go, what you wanted to do with your career, finances, marriage, kids. We've always had the freedom to choose. But I would say this is the first time in all our lives where I think we're experiencing something where, a lot of people I believe, are feeling like they're being forced to take something you would otherwise, for health reasons, for freedom to live. And I respect everyone's choices, regardless of what it is that they decide to do. But in a world today, with all the information that we have, that 80% of the population in Canada is vaccinated, so that's great. The hospitals won't be overrun with people. The majority of the people will have almost no symptoms, if anything at all, and a very small percentage of the population will get affected by it. But we know that it's less than 99.5% of death or any major things that could go wrong. So the question is, here in Canada, it's just been passed in Quebec, as it has in France and now New York, and I believe in California, where they're making vaccine passports. So if you have the vaccine, you have the freedom to choose to do whatever it is you want with no restrictions. And if you don't, then there are restrictions on the things that you're able to do. Now, I want to believe that compassionately and empathetically that those rules were in place to get society back on track, to not have businesses shut down, to keep things somewhat intact, under control, while they figure out how to best continue to navigate this. But being the cases that we both know that both vaccinated and non-vaccinated can spread the virus, so the question is, why are we creating this disparity in society? Because if we're both equally carrying it around, but the majority will be fine, then by rights, one thing that should happen is that the vaccinated people have nothing to worry about when it comes to those who decide not to get vaccinated. And I don't know about you, but I just deleted someone on Facebook who basically was pushing, the vaccine down everyone's throat who wasn't taking it, and blaming them for this, that, and everything. And I just thought, you know what? I had a major anxiety disorder 8 years ago. And, I was giving, antidepressants and anxiety pills to calm me down when I was having them. But I didn't want to do that because I didn't want it to be dependent on that for the rest of my life. I wanted to figure out why I was experiencing this, what was going on, and what I could do to not, I guess, prevent it from happening, but to get out of this so I could end it, right? And I decided to do some alternative things. Now, did I get backlash? Did I get shamed? Did I get ridiculed for not doing that? No, because that was my choice. That was my choice to do that. And, I just think that where we are today is a real sticky point. I'm sure relationships are being affected by mine has, because, I have a lot of uncertainties with my kids, with school. Are they going to be forced to take something? Are they not? Are they going to be out of school? Is my my wife going to have a job, not have a job if she decides to do A, B, C, D, E? And what about me? And my choices. I've always respected people's decisions and choices of what they wanted to do in their lives. And it just feels like the first time that I can really remember prior to the 1930s, where Hitler convinced a massive population of people to shun out and ridicule a certain culture of people because of their beliefs and lifestyle and whatever it is the way they live, that here we are today in the same sort of situation. It's not a Holocaust by any means, but we're shunning a minority of people for a different choice that they're making.
Yeah.
And the data information says that people who are making one choice don't have to worry about the other. But it seems like every politician and every doctor who has a microphone in front of them is making the case. And from what I understand, I'm not a doctor, coming from the data is that, you know what? One, they don't need to worry about that. So if that is the case, why are they not spreading that, family and friends, continue to respect one another for your choices and the decisions, and find a way to create empathy and harmony and compassion and build connection with one another for your different choices, reasons, and how you're going to live and move forward and support one another. And it just feels like that's not the case. And I truly believe any good-hearted leader in the world would not put us in a situation where we're in today. I'm at a loss for words where we are today. We did many videos over the past year and a half predicting where we're going to be, in a year from now. And by any means, does anybody want to be right about where we are? God, no. You don't, right? And if there's one thing that I want to be hopeful of, if we could look into the future, is that anyone who's in a relationship, anyone who's a father and mother, anyone who's part of a company or a church or whatever it is that the people that are delivering the message change the narrative.
It's very true.
Right? They change the narrative and find a way to, look at what's going on. There's so much divide, so much hatred, so much just disruption going on. And imagine this was going on in your place of work.
Yeah.
Who would be to blame for this? The people who are leading.
Right.
So my thought is telling me that if the people who are leading have got us to where we are in the way that they did, then they failed on countless proportions in so many ways, in so many facets, right? So I think that, moving forward, this is a relationship channel, and we're talking a lot about COVID. Well, usually the topic is about infidelity.
Mm-hmm.
Usually the topic is about, masculinity and femininity and contribution and the human needs and all these sorts of amazing things that can help make a relationship great. But the one greatest thing that we're all dealing with right now is that, we are forcefully trying to be divided. And because that is coming from people that supposedly we are supposed to trust, it is now impacting all of our lives, our relationships, our financial capabilities, our place of work, right? So the question is, what do you do from here? What power do you have to make a change, to make a stand, and to make a difference without getting into a place of anger and resentment, and especially a place of fear, which many of us have experienced over a course of the year. So question back to you. How do you think that, if you had one message right now that you could deliver to somebody that could change the course of our futures, the way we move forward with this, reconnecting people, even though they're making different decisions about how they want to live their lives, both physically, spiritually, mentally, what would be something that you would say?
I think what I have been saying for a very long time, and I'm going to give you an analogy. So, we walk through life not knowing the status of our health. Like we look at people and we think that, you know what, they look decently healthy, whatnot. But if you really want to get to the nit and gritty, if you really want to know, right? If you really want to know the status of your health, you would. Oh, there's a lot of echo over there.
I know why. Is that good? Try talking now.
I think you had something on there.
Oh, yeah, I was on my phone.
That's okay. Um, if you really wanted to know, you would take, precautions. Like, for example, I just got my blood work done, right? Because I feel great, but I want to know, right? I want to know exactly if what I'm feeling matches the truth, right? So I think we as a society are very easy to take things for face value. So it's not to disregard that things are happening and that they're not true. It's to what extent? What is the truth behind it? What makes facts facts? Right? What are you doing to research to make sure what you're saying and sharing is true? Are you covering all of your angles? Because I think that's one thing, right? And I think that even in schools and even in, relationships, whether it be intimate or family or friend or, just interpersonal relationships, people will always have an opinion. It doesn't make it true, right? And I think that's the thing that people need to understand is that everyone has the right to make an opinion. Every single person, because we all have them. But what are you doing to seek the truth from that opinion? Right? Because, yeah, you may not agree with the truth and it may not correspond with your beliefs or, your wants or your needs, but it doesn't make it less true. Opinions and truth are two different things, right? So I think that what people need to realize in a situation like this is that it's very dangerous sharing opinions because opinions are easily followed and opinions are easily manipulated. I think what people need to understand is where to seek the truth. And it's not just by reading headlines and it's not just by, listening to a conversation. It's data, right? It's actual finding factual data, which is fantastic, right? And I compare it to like language arts and math, and it's like, how do you grade language, a language paper versus math? Well, math is very cut or dry. It's like either you got it right or you didn't. Whereas if you write a paper, right, or an essay, and you get a certain teacher reading it, that can decipher if you're getting an A or a B, right? Because those are words. Words are interpreted differently. Whereas when you have data, it's actually factual. So I think that's what people need to understand. I think if one word of advice for anything, and whether it's people listening to us, whether it's people listening to other people, understand that everyone has the right to share an opinion. It doesn't make it true. It doesn't make it right. But what you should be following is, okay, occurrences, data, facts over a longer period of time that are accumulated, right? So I think that's what I would say. I would honestly say that, you know, um, try and regard what you're thinking. Am I thinking this because I was told it? Do I believe it because I was told? Or did I seek the truth? If that makes sense. That's what I would say. That's my message.
That's awesome. And I think for me, it would be if I had the opportunity to speak with all the heads of the world who are guiding this, and obviously I'm I connect with one side because of a choice that I'm making.
Right.
And based on everything that I've cultivated throughout my life from the time I was a kid to now, it seems to be that we're obviously trying to head into a better place. So
Yeah, I would
my,
like
my
to
so my
think
question would be to them if they are watching would be at a time where we're trying to eliminate all prejudices, to eliminate all racism and hate,
so. Hmm.
to eliminate all violence and wars. Why is it that it's okay to create prejudice on a small percentage of the people for making a choice that doesn't go inside with the choice that you want them to make? That would be my question. Because if everything that I want to believe that, from the riots that we've experienced over the past year and 4 months, and the Islamophobia, and you know, the gays and the races and the different cultures, is that the narrative over the past 2 years or 5 years or a decade was about equality and inclusivity and to limit all these things that I listed before. So my question is, why are you being selective with this one specific thing? Why is it okay to create a prejudice and allow everyone in society to go along with this for a health choice that someone's making that they are free to make?
It's a loaded question.
Right?
I mean, I have an opinion on that.
Right? So that would be my question, because I've always been one that watches and listens and sees, and that has been my question over the past year and 4 months,
Yeah.
because there was so much polarity with the George Floyd thing. There's so much polarity when something happens to a gay male or female. There's so much polarity when there's racial slurs to a specific culture and race.
Hmm.
But here we have a divide created from a health choice, right? So the messages have all been coming from the same sources in the same way from all the social media spectrums.
Hmm.
So my question is, why create the prejudice when it comes to people making their own health choice? Why are the messages not, here's how we see it, here's how we think it's going to be rolled out? We know that there are people that are going to decide to do A, and we know that there is going to be people that decide to do B. For those of you who decide to do B, A, I want you to listen. Do not judge. Do not be angry. Do not create divide. Do not take prejudice. Do A, B, and C to create love, compassion, empathy, inclusivity, because this is what a democracy in a free world looks like.
Right, but what do the average people thrive on?
I don't know.
What's it creating? It's creating fear. It's creating drama. It's creating, um, conversation. It's creating a lot of things that majority of the people are influenced by.
Okay, so I agree with you, but this isn't coming from a soap opera or a Kim Kardashian video that's being taken in their house. This is coming from political leaders
Mhm.
and doctors who are making very big decisions on how society plays,
Right.
how people treat one another, how a couple and their children will act based on information that is being received, based on the types of choices and things that they believe.
Hmm.
Right? So, yeah, I totally get that. When the narrative is it's something that's, a reality show or a soap opera or something not as, you know, elusive as this is.
As long as there is a story to tell, as long as there is something to share. It's like let me put it to you this way. We all know that viruses exist, whether it be the one that we're experiencing, whether it be acute, whether it be, any form in anybody's virus. Okay. We all know that if you keep feeding this virus, there's really no end to it. It just keeps growing and adapting, right? Well, think about when other things were happening in the world, simultaneously to what we're experiencing now with the virus, and how magically it disappeared on the media for a couple months because there was another source to feed that, to stimulate it. I'm not, trust me, I know that the virus is real. Like, I know it exists. I don't deny that. But when you feed the host and give it exactly what it wants, it grows and it multiplies, and there's a demand.
Oh, I agree 100%. I mean, listen,
That's my
all news is bad news when it comes from media, right? And because
right.
they know how to work our brains, we're naturally attracted to negativity. I mean, our brains are wired, on the premise of a 70% negative bias. We are always looking for everything that's wrong, that's going wrong, right? All the bad, all the things that could be, right? So I get that. But in a place, in the world where, you're being screened for saying A, B, C, D, and E and F, why are we not also, improving the quality of the information that is being delivered to people? Why don't we get away from the delivery of fear and start delivering optimism?
Okay, let me ask you this question then, as a devil's advocate. So, yes, that would be great, but why isn't the majority asking for that?
I would say because, like me, pre my anxiety disorder and about 8 years ago, is that you don't even really know what's going on,
Yeah.
right? You're naturally just being pulled and you don't even realize why, right? Until you understand how this mechanism works, and you can understand how you're naturally polarized to go in specific directions when it comes to information
Mm-hmm.
and how it's delivered, right? But it's quite shocking, when I look over this course of year and 4 months, and if I think we should, maybe steer the fact checkers away from the information and start fact checking delivery.
Mm,
If you're delivering fear mongering and negative news, let's shut it down,
yeah.
right? Let's deliver news that provides inclusivity, understanding, compassion, empathy, a way out of a problem, right? A way to bring people together, not divide people. I mean, this isn't about left or right or what you want to do, whether you want to take the vaccine or you don't. It's about, hey, you know what? We are all humanly different, but we have the same needs, right? And, maybe if we just figured it out with this, maybe we would figure it out in our relationships or in our money or our place of work, right? So my optimism lies in, messages like this getting out to everyone who's in a relationship where, maybe you're not on the same page about how to live or the health choices that you want to make, despite what's thrown at you or that's thrown at us. I mean, the whole purpose of relationship is to respect one another's differences. Isn't that what relationships are about? The polarity is what, makes a relationship great. The opposite, right? The opposite of who we are is what creates a polarity of things we have in common and what makes it good. So, let's allow, whether it's immediate family, your own personal circle, your outside circle, your friends, make it a matter of the heart and the mind where you just we all learn, maybe from this day forward, to respect one another from our choices, not to divide one another, not to be separated and judgmental, but to allow love to guide us through this because, you know, one real quick and easy way to end anxiety is to get into gratitude. And you
Mm.
can end it like this. And the reason for that is in your nervous system, you cannot be grateful and fearful at the exact same time. So, yeah, I mean, hey, if I could do it, 8 years ago with what I experienced, I think we have the capacity and ability to turn it down. But there just needs to be more messages like this. You know what? Back when it was the Cold War and it was almost the end of the world because Russia and the U.S. was literally a finger away from
Mhm.
ending the world, and flying a nuclear bomb over people's heads. And there was a negotiations between Gorbachev and Reagan, and it was getting really heated. And they walked away, and Ronald Reagan came back and said, "Why don't we start all over? Hi, my name's Ronald. What's yours?" And that literally just opened things up to allow for a new way to approach things. And he also, because he knew Mikhail Gorbachev loved kids, he left a bunch of American kids with him in his care. And because of that, it changed the course of our
Mm.
planet.
Wow.
So we are literally one person away, one phrase, one sentence away from changing the whole divide that we've experienced over this year and 4 months. We have all experienced uncertainty. We all have our own ideas of what did happen, what didn't happen, where we're going, where we're not going, the way these things should be, and maybe the way they shouldn't, what people should and shouldn't be doing. And maybe we all just need to take a step back and just learn to really focus on the things that really matter. And it is that in a world where we're trying to end this disparity between prejudices and racism and everything else, we have one right in front of us.
Mm.
It's the first time in our lives when it's something to do with our health. But it is the exact same thing as all those other things. So if you worked one that was okay with those other things, and you're okay with this one, you need to ask yourself why.
Mm.
You need to ask yourself why. What Kool-Aid did you drink this time that you didn't drink the last time that's making you feel this way? Make you feel so indifferent? And how do you get back to the way you felt with those other things and look at it in the same perspective with this? Because we should not be prejudiced
Mm.
with anything, especially in today's day and age with all these leaders that are at the forefront of everything that's going on today. Where are you now? Where are you now with this pandemic and this vaccine and people's choices, regardless of what they decide, to keep people together, to not create prejudices and divide, and to keep people from getting angry? Where's your leadership? Bring us together,
Yeah.
end this nonsense, and let's find a way to make this work regardless of what people decide.
And here's a tip on how you can do that. Start taking your zinc. Start taking your vitamin C. Start taking your vitamin D. Take care of your bodies. Spread that message.
Yeah, absolutely. And these are our own thoughts and our own opinions. We're not doctors of any sort. These are
It's
just
fact.
these.
It's actually factual.
It is factual, and these are things that we're
It's
doing.
actually
I
factual.
agree, and it might not be something that someone else might want to do, or it might be someone that somebody looks into. But regardless of what it is that you decide to do, it's good for you.
Mhm.
It's good for your family. It's good for your kids. We're all just trying to make the best choice of decisions based on what we believe about our lives and what they need to look like. And so, I haven't prayed, but I'll pray, right? Because they say, and every word you speak is like a genie going out into the universe. I pray that, from this day forward, that we find a way to end this divide, to end the fear, to end all the anxiety and the suffering that everybody's experienced in the world, and just find a way to deliver the messages and information in a way that keeps us all together. Because I think I mentioned it earlier on in the video, but after World War II was over, they had a trial, and they had one of Hitler's main people in the courts, and they asked him a question: how did you do what you did? How did you get away with it? And he said, oh, it was really easy. All you got to do is throw fear at people for a long, long time, and eventually you can convince them to do anything. We should not be living in a world where someone, regardless of their stature and their profession, pushing someone to do something that goes against their will. And at the same time, shun them for the choices and the decisions that they make because it doesn't comply with the majority. This should not exist. It cannot exist. And it cannot play into the world that we were all pushed to believe was a future that they were trying to create for us. So we need to step up. We need to do our parts. I want to thank YouTube and platforms like TikTok for giving us the opportunity to come on here and speak about our thoughts and our opinions on this. And I'm not, like I said, I'm not political. I'm not democratic, nor am I conservative. I'm a little bit of both. And I'm not anti-vax. I'm not for vax. I'm for whatever it is you want to choose to do what you want to do in your lives. I've tried many things in my life, both traditional and non-traditional. They both have had good effects and not effects at all. And I just think it's really up to you to do what you feel is right for you in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, in your soul, as we should all have the choice to do ours, while everyone chooses to respect it as a way of just being a good human being.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm just going to end on that.
All right. And I think that, just to touch on that just for a brief second, is understand where your opinions are coming from, like Sam said. Where are they coming from? What is fueling them? Right? Understand that. On that note, this is the relationship series, always talking about the matters of the heart and mind. Please don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and hit the notification bell. We'll see you all next time. Ciao for now.